William Ruto sent the entire state machinery to Kalou. Cabinet ministers, principal secretaries, the government officials were more than the voters to campaign and camped in Kalou for 3 months, bribing people and promising projects. Members of parliament were all over Kalou with sacks of money. The IBC commissioners, the ones meant to guard our elections, looked the other way as the state openly violated electoral laws with impunity. In full view of the country, William Ruto misused state resources to project power and manipulate the people of Kalou. The people stood their ground and refused to be deceived. The supposed deep state and system cannot alter the fate of William Ruto in 2027. William Ruto brought violence and intimidation to Kalou. He flooded one constituency with 2,000 police officers. He brought the infamous Sierra Squad to Kalou, the one of the Wetima ECK church attack. In full view of the country, William Ruto had dating voters and trying to seize polling stations in attempt waged war on his own citizens, attacking innocent young people, queuing peacefully democratic right, and they were attacked by police thugs in hoods. I want to confirm to the people of Kenya that violence and intimidation cannot alter the fate of William Ruto in 2027. To the people who fear William Ruto's ruthless nature and what he is capable of, I ask them to be at ease. The great people of Kalou have taken the frustrations of millions of Kenyans and given them a voice. As we start here, the general election, it is now clear beyond reasonable doubt that none of Ruto's dirty money, none of his capacity for violence can stand the test of a determined electorate. All power belongs to the people of Kenya, and their will reigns supreme. William Ruto, you have turned Kenya into heaven for wanton theft to raise funds to buy your re-election. You have turned our country into a playground for goons and death squads to intimidate Kenyans into compliance for your election. Through Kalou, the people of Kenya have given you their reply. Here, but no further. William Ruto, today marks the beginning of your retreat, and it is a journey with only one destination, one term. Yesterday was a tipping point for this country. The residents of Kalou came out in overwhelming numbers to make their voice heard. We owe them our deepest gratitude for their dedication, their commitment, and above all, their resilience. However, we cannot celebrate this outcome without fully addressing the circumstances under which the election took place. The impunity of the government must be named and it must be condemned. Violence was the order of the day. For avoidance of doubt, the violence was perpetrated entirely by the state. Photos and videos of masked armed men terrorizing voters are now in public record. This was Nairobi Sierra, the very death squad responsible for abductions of Gen Zs. The same squad that has been attacking churches across the country. Yesterday, this squad, together with goons and plainclothes police officers, stormed polling stations in a coordinated attempt to disrupt the counting. Amid the chaos of tear gas and gunfire, they intended to overturn the will of the people. The 2,000 police officers deployed under the pretense of keeping order and preventing violence stood idly by and did nothing to intervene. It was the ordinary people who stood strong. Unarmed and unprotected, they held the line against men with guns and defended their polling stations. We must commend the people of Kalou. They refused to back down in the face of terrible and extreme violence. History will remember their courage. However, this courage came at a devastating cost. It is with profound sorrow that I must inform the people of Kenya that this violence claimed a life. James Muigai of Vehote Village, Kiabaga Ward, was shot and killed by the policemen sent by William Ruto. William Ruto managed to kill 20 people are in hospital with gunshot wounds and head injuries after being attacked with truncheons by the killer police squad sent by William Ruto. I must say that we are shocked that William Ruto sent policemen to kill people, to maim them, be forgiven by our people. These rogue policemen raped our women, elderly women, middle-aged women, and young girls. So far, 68 women have reported to us that they were raped by the hooded thugs sent by William Ruto. Yet they cannot report the attacks to the police because they were raped by the policemen. I want to say, William Ruto, you have crossed the red line. Raping our women is unforgivable, and you shall pay for it. Yes. You shall pay for it. Yes. And as they raped the women, they maimed them, telling them that they must know that William Ruto is the president of Kenya, and they can do whatever they want and nobody will take them anywhere. Given this tragedy, there must be accountability. It would be inexcusable not to call out the people responsible for this. It is important for the people of Kenya to know exactly who the architects of this bloodshed be allowed to continue to hide in the shadows. The killer gangs were authorized by the Minister for Goonism and extrajudicial killing in Kenya. These police units operated in Kalou yesterday. There were 3 groups. One was commanded by Madeira Member of Parliament Eric Wamumbi and his wife Betty Maina, the women rep for Muranga. The second squad was commanded and taking orders from one Dennis Itubi. The third group was taking orders from Charles Karondo, the board chairman of the Communications Authority. The goons terrorizing the constituencies were coordinated by Nakuru Town East Member of Parliament David Gekaria, Kiambu County Women's Representative Anne Wamuratha, the Nyandarua County Women Representative Faith Gitau, Kiambaa Member of Parliament John Kawanjiku, nominated MP Sabina Chege, Bahati Member of Parliament Irene Joki, and Bere North MP Mr. Wamudende. The financing of all the violence that took place in Kalou was coordinated by Kimani Ichung'wa, who was collecting money from William Ruto and giving the money to the teams on the ground. All of it was done under the express authority of William Ruto, who was giving the money and who okayed the attacks on the population and the raping of women, and with the operational support of Kipchumba Murkomen. So when Murkomen promises an investigation into men wielding weapons that only the police has access to, you ask yourself, how stupid does he think Kenyans are? He wants us to believe automatic rifles paraded openly in a constituency packed with 2,000 police officers went unnoticed by security agencies for over 12 hours. It is insulting that he thinks anyone can believe that. If Murkomen has called for an investigation, he must call for an investigation into his own person because he is the one who authorized these attacks in Kalou. As we speak, the DCI Kalou arrested our young people, the Gen Zs, on trumped-up charges. Some have been taken to court, and others are reported missing. We'll go on to state throughout the electoral period. They have said nothing. The returning officers, the presiding officers, and the clerks did a commendable professional job. The commissioners have proven they cannot be trusted. These things were plain for all to see, even as the... In light of the open brutality witnessed yesterday and the complicity of IBC commissioners, we must confront be a violent election and could give room to anarchy and civil unrest. Thankfully, the people of Kalou have given the template for what must be done. When the people stand resolute, the state cannot change the result. Violence from police and goons cannot change the result. A compromised IBC cannot change the result. However, far this administration is willing to go, however dark its schemes, Kalou has proven one thing beyond doubt. They cannot overpower all of us, and they cannot overturn the will of the people. Now, we must now chart the way forward to the next election. I want to admit and acknowledge that I, Rigathi Gachagua, and the people of Mount Kenya are to a huge extent responsible for the mess we are in as a country. We handed this administration nearly half the votes that brought it into power. Our fellow Kenyans, we are sorry. We are keenly aware that we made a fatal mistake and we are all living with its consequences. That being said, we are committed and working hard to correct that situation. William Ruto came to power with 7.1 million votes across the country. Mount Kenya is working hard to mobilize and deliver at least 7.1 million votes in 2027 on our own, so that we can wash away the sin we imposed on the Republic in its entirety. We are calling to the rest of the country to join us and add to that number to ensure a victory so overwhelming and definitive that it will serve as a message to every future administration. A reminder that ultimately leaders serve at the will of the people of Kenya. As a party, DCP is gearing up for the days to come. History has shown us that Mount Kenya's political direction is determined in a by-election preceding the general election. TNA came into power in 2012 in the Kagema by-election. UDA became the party of choice in 2021 after by-elections in Rurii and Kiambaa by-election. DCP has now delivered its first-born member of parliament in Kalou, and DCP today is a party of choice in the mountain. Yes. DCP is 1 year old with one member of parliament of Kalou, one MCA in Narok Town Ward, Narok County, one MCA in Kisa East, Kakamega County, and Kariobangi Ward in Nairobi County. We are a national party and it is our intention to field candidates in all 47 counties for gubernatorial, senatorial, National Assembly and County Assembly seats. In accordance with our strategic plan, we have set up a necessary machinery and blueprints to secure a minimum of 20 governors, a minimum of 20 senators, a minimum of 145 members of the National Assembly, and a minimum of 720 members of the County Assembly across the country. To any aspirant considering DCP, come forward today. We give you our word that our nominations will be free, fair, and credible. Part of the popularity of Sammy Douglas Waweru Kamau as the DCP candidate was the credibility of the nominations DCP ran for the Kalou by-election. That standard is not a one-time event. It is our foundation and we will not lower it. For the avoidance of doubt, this by-election marks the death of UDA in this region. William Ruto knows it, and we are aware he is already scheming. He intends to introduce different colored wheelbarrows to accommodate his allies, who now know they cannot survive with the UDA in the upcoming by-election. But we are watching him. We are aware of a small wheelbarrow coming up in Muranga. We'll announce it and shout about it when it is done. We also know that he intends to introduce small presidential candidates in the mountain to divide the mountain vote. We shall call them out when he unleashes them. These are people who work with him at night and pretend to be against him during the day. As you have seen in Kalou, the people are nobody's fool.